Super Mario World is too easy, and I'm about to beat it without running on a single level. To make this possible, I went to the darkest forums of the internet to find an expert in coding and have him program a cheat that would take away Mario's acceleration when holding the X and Y buttons. During this run, well, walk, I'm also going to show you facts about Super Mario World, and I can guarantee that you didn't know about at least one of them. I start at Yoshi's house and say hello to a very important character in the game, this little yellow bird. Then I walk to the Yellow Switch Palace, where I don't even try to get coins due to our speed. As you can see by this footage, even when I pick something up, I still don't run. Now, after grabbing a Yoshi, I'll show you the first thing that you never knew about Super Mario World, and it's in Yoshi's Island 4. On top of this ledge, there is a secret 1-up mushroom that you can activate if you walk across the platform from left to right without jumping. Doing this will make the item appearing sound, and then about 3 seconds later the 1-up will fall right here. Similar to the moons and collecting 5 dragon coins, this 1-up will not reappear until you turn your console off and on again. If you don't believe me, boot up your own copy of the game and try it out, but not until the end of the video so that you can check all the facts at once. Alright, now I'm at Iggy's castle, and after very slowly climbing and dodging, I gently nudge Iggy into his own pool of lava and then detonate the explosives that I left in his castle. For some reason, they call Iggy demented in his mini-credits text, which seems kind of rude, but whatever. We are now in Donut Plains, which gives me access to feathers. But since there is no running, there is no flying. The next fact that you didn't know is already here in Donut Plains 1. There is another secret spawn mushroom you can only get if you go around this block a certain way. Donut Plains also has a water level, but those are not very interesting since the challenge doesn't change anything there. Donut Plains has a bunch of easy levels that we were able to get through. But we hit our first unbeatable level, which is the Donut Ghost House. Hard to make that scary when one of the words is donut. But because we cannot fly, there's nothing we can do to ascend up to the secret exit of this level. Thankfully, this does not gatekeep us because all this leads to is the top secret area, which doesn't have an exit. No power-ups for us. The Donut Secret Ghost House does have a fact that you didn't know. What's in this block right here? Is it a power-up? Yoshi wings? The discarded remains of Super Mario 3's Boom Boom? Wait, that's later. Go ahead and guess. To help, here's a picture of everything that can come out of a block in Super Mario World. Well, the fact that you may have guessed but didn't know is that it's a 1-up, not one that you can obtain. There it goes, into the pit. Bye. I clear the rest of Vanilla Plains and end up at the castle of Morton Koopa Jr., who, unlike demented Iggy, was mentally healthy despite the fact that he is not truly one of Bowser's children. He's Morton Jr., so his father's name must be Morton, and Morton must be the name of the blue Bowser that you kill in a previous game, and, you know what? That will be a topic for some other video. Anyways, Morton Jr. unsubscribed upon my third jump, and then I got to watch a weird cutscene where Mario does some breakdancing and the castle falls to his sick moves, and we have ourselves another egg. I walk into a big new cave, and I am in the Vanilla Dome. No association with Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome. I have a major problem on Vanilla Dome 1, and it is this yellow platform. It sinks, and when you can't run, you unsubscribe in lava. The only way past this requires a trip to Star Road to get the famous blue flying Yoshi. After getting the blue Yoshi, the only issue is that we need to have a shell in his mouth, and the only shell is all the way over here. Thankfully, it only takes some screen scrolling and perfect spawn manipulation to get the perfect bounces, which allows me to eat this Koopa with the blue Yoshi letting me fly over the lava. Try it yourself, it's a pretty fun challenge. After that, I clear out the rest of Vanilla Dome, and no exit here was safe from me. Though, to make it through one of the jumps on the ghost house, you have to use one of the green lenses. I suppose I also had to do a shell jump on Vanilla Secret 1 to make this gap. Though, looking back, I suppose I could have just used a Yoshi. But if I used Yoshi dumping all the time, this wouldn't be that fun. Now, let me Koopa and his castle were already slow-paced thanks to this slow-moving platform, so it doesn't bother me. I enter the boss room and stomp him through the floor and move on. After doing Vanilla Cave secret levels, I go to the Cream Cheese Bridge. Getting the secret exit here does require a Yoshi as well as some enjoyable platforming. That last jump is really close though, and I almost thought I was going to have a second exit that is unbeatable, but I couldn't give up until I got it. Cookie Mountain, along with the rest of the top secret levels, don't pose that much of a challenge. And then I go to the first fortress of the game. It is underwater, so there's really no change from the normal game, and the Renzers go down just as easily as they came up. The butter bridges are fun platforming, but nothing special. Now I'm at the hardest level of the game in my opinion. But before that, a fact that you didn't know. On the overworld, you can stop Mario from moving mid-ladder, and he will just sit there climbing forever. I think it's funny. You may be asking, what kind of obstacle could stop me at this point? And the answer is, nothing can stop me. But a giant ceiling of spikes can certainly slow me down. I mean, look at this thing. It is 146 spikes long, plus one block at the end that can still squish me. I walk at a max speed of 5 blocks per second, and I only have 28 seconds from when the ceiling of spikes goes from the top to the bottom. This only allows me at the max walking speed to get 140 out of 107 blocks before being squished. That is if we don't take out the time to stop and hit the switch with perfect time, and this also is with removing all obstacles. For a small moment, I thought it wasn't looking good, and I thought I might be stuck because this is the only path that leads to the new levels in the rest of the game. Am I going to just have to go through Star Road and beat Special World and Bowser and finish with only 56 out of 96 exits? A full 40 unbeatable levels? No. I will find a way. And find a way I did. Luckily, the developers placed this conveyor belt in this room. One of only 3 rooms it appears in the entire game. Using this beautiful ramp, I am able to slide and pick up just a little bit of speed and keep it by using almost frame perfect jumps until I squeeze through and I'm able to continue the journey. I ascend the rest of the castle to confront Ludwig von Koopa and launch him and his castle to crash land on the semi-sentient hills with eyes. Now I journey into the fantastically fabled foliage, the Forest of Illusion. And other than a few tricky jumps here and there, there's nothing too difficult in the Forest of Illusion. I get all the exit and deforest the whole place while I'm there. One fun fact is that the Forest of Illusion's secret area, there are 3 extra lives that you seem to be unable to get because they turn into coins. The trick here to obtain these is to get right next to the goal, scroll the screen to the left with the L trigger, and then walk into the goal. Doing this while they're off screen when the goal tape is touched makes it so that they don't turn into coins and you collect them as you exit the stage. The Forest Fortress has some huge jumps, like the saws that we have to bounce on, and this lava pit we are able to do with the help of some lava bubbles. Then I take out the second set of Renzers and we have opened up another path to Star World. We go to the 5th castle, which is really just another snake block level, and then we fight Roy Koopa, no relation. Blow him and ourselves up as we move to Chocolate Island. As a note, the text here is kind of dark as it says that I put an end to Roy Koopa. I guess the Roy Koopa in future games is just some other guy. Is that why he's other colors in the future games? Let's do this. What color is Roy Koopa in Super Mario World? Yeah, he's a totally different Koopa now. I guess the future Roy Koopa has a different shell in the future games because he's literally a different Roy Koopa. Anyway, Chocolate Island 1 has another big gap that requires the help of a slope to get across. And thanks again to the developers who put one there for someone doing this kind of a challenge. The Chocolate Island Ghost House is all the things you remember about ghost houses in Super Mario World. Moving holes in the floor, spirits of Yoshis you dropped into pits, the fishing ghost, and how can we forget our favorite ghost, the one that turns into bricks. They're annoying, but necessary to complete this level. Chocolate Island 2 is pretty crazy to traverse. The reason being that how fast you get through each section of the level and how many coins you collect determine what the next rooms are. After the first rooms, we have to make it to the tunnel before we hit 2:49 on the Mario clock. We use a cape and a slope to make it to the tunnel with 3 seconds to spare and are able to get the second exit with the key. This was close to being another uncompletable exit. In the Chocolate Fortress, I always feel like I'm getting stabbed by a bunch of pencils. Does anybody else feel that way? Why did they design them like this? The biggest struggle of the Chocolate Islands is the Chocolate Secret level. This has more yellow sinking platforms that are incredibly difficult to get past. Once again, we use some screen scrolling and spawn manipulation to get the perfect bounces, plus a Yoshi dump to make it past. The second section of yellow platforms has a slope to pick up some sliding speed, which solves that problem, but just barely. This level also has a very enjoyable slide section that's quite relaxing. Castle 6's difficult part is these spikes that smash up and down pretty fast, but we make it through and drop Windy-O Koopa into lava before somehow mopping her castle away like it was yesterday's garbage. Now we enter the sunken ghost ship and home to the best lore in the game. One of Bowser's servants must have crashed their sky ship, causing all their minions to drown, which is why there's so many ghosts. Who don't we see in this game from the last game? It's Boom Boom. Who's the only creature that drops a magical orb? Boom Boom. Where's the only orb in the game? The bottom of this ship. Interesting. A fact that you probably didn't know is that there are actually 3 extra lives in this falling section. They're under the water on this level, but you have to be quick and sink straight down to get them.
So I missed.
Valley of Bowser 1 turned out to be impossible, unless you have no power-ups. Small Mario can make it through the gaps, but you need to have a feather in your inventory in order to make it through this next section, which has rising yellow platforms. Man, yellow platforms are not kind to me today. You pretty much have to unsubscribe into a pit with a feather in your inventory, and then go through the whole first part of the level without touching anything. And then the fun part is that I had to do it 2 times, and the normal exit is much harder than the key exit. Just look at the margin of error here. The Valley Fortress is really no harder than it normally is with the feather. The Valley Ghost House has to be one of my favorites of the run, well, walk, since you are usually required to run and collect coins before they turn back into blocks to get to the doors. But I found that I could attract the ghosts to me, and then bounce across the gap to activate the P-switch right next to the wall and get through them all. Also, I loved controlling the coins to make a staircase on this level. And despite it not loving me back this time, we were still able to make it in. The rest of Valley of Bowser, while difficult, has little of note to share. I arrive at the 7th castle owned by Larry, and we are greeted with a Magic Koopa and more pencils. We defeat Larry, then Mario drop kicks the entire castle like it's nothing. Of course, before we fight Bowser, we have to see if we can clear the rest of the levels in Star World and Special World. Star World 3's normal exit is nearly impossible. Just kidding. The rest of Star World's levels are longer, but about the same difficulty as Bowser Valley, so nothing to report here. Also, can't forget about the bonus stage, where of course, we get them all the same for the maximum lives. The Special World level, Awesome, did not exactly live up to its name. With this challenge, it is one of the hardest in the run, and to quote another challenge run YouTuber, this is where the challenge really begins. But in seriousness, this level is really tough. The ice physics mixed with big jumps, tiny platforms, and tons of fish make it really hard. Just for fun, I wanted to see if I could do it without a feather. I could get all the way to the last jump, but then it wasn't possible to make the last gap. After grabbing a feather, I was able to finish it. Fun fact about the Special World Overworld is that if you sit there long enough, a different soundtrack starts playing. The rest of Special World did not hold any particular challenge, so I was off to Bowser's Castle. I won't show going through every single room of the castle here, but I know that each one is possible. Hey, Future Samuroy here. While editing, I realized this specific room in Bowser's castle is not possible without running. Luckily, this room is also completely optional. After arriving at Bowser, I unsub him without running, and the challenge is complete. As I said in the beginning, the game is too easy. Without one of the main mechanics of the game, I was able to beat 95 out of the 96 exits in the game. Now for something that's not necessarily a secret, but a glitch that I couldn't find anywhere else. I remember this glitch as a kid happening in this section right here. I was able to recreate it down here. It's kind of weird, and I'll slow it down so you can see it, but the second player sometimes appears when you do a screen transition. I didn't learn until a lot later in life that there was an enemy that was unused that was supposed to be on the map and run and suck you into a level similar to the hands of Mario Bros. 3. I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but I did think it was kind of weird. Oh, and the last secret you didn't know about is in the overworld. It is that if you push start while Mario is walking over one of the sections where fish jump up, the fish will continually to jump and jump and jump forever right there. It's pretty fun. Try it. Thank you so much for watching. If you do want to see me go through every single level, I'll put a link to a video of the full run in the description. Thanks again so much for watching. Have a great day. And if you would, please subscribe.